So this is just a recap for live stream 238, I believe, maybe 239. But as we can see, we've got positive P&L. And let's talk about some of the trades we did take here. So we started the day off. These trades won't necessarily be in order, but we had gold head down. We were at the charts a bit late here. Price came down through the previous day's close, all the way down to the previous day's low, found support there, rallied to the upside, interacted with the previous day's close. So I decided to take a short all the way down to the previous day's low. Prices weren't accepting that. So based on what I was seeing in terms of the price action, decided to take that off there, closed it for a loss on gold. What I'll do is I'll remove the, let's get our breakdown of our P&L there on the right hand side. Okay, yep, there we go. So the breakdown of the P&L by instrument is here on the right hand side. We can see we break even on ES, 17 on NQ and 13 on gold. So didn't like what we saw, took it off for a loss there, then went long on the close above the previous day's close. How was the open? It might have been the open. It was either the open or the prior day's close. Let's think about this actually. What is it? Is it the... I'm just gonna... okay. So this is labeled incorrectly. This should be prior day's open. So this here is a prior day's open. We closed above it, decided to go long, target the prior day's close, and as we can see, despite having some difficulties, I think this was a trade I spent the most time in, because I, rather than target that prior day's close there, what I did was I decided to go for a couple of ticks below, and the reason I decided to go a couple of ticks below was I've known the market to come up to a level and then turn around, and also we already seen the turnaround here. Price got to 54.3 before selling all the way down to the previous day's low into the 36s. So I wasn't willing to do that. So what I did was I thought, well, with these highs being at 54.3, I'll target 54. Price would likely get there on its way to the previous day's close. Well, easier said than done. Price came up all the way up to the 53.8, turned around to my frustration, came back up again, hit 53.9 several times before pulling back, and before finally breaking up and hitting the 54, my target 3 ticks below these prior highs. These weren't even the highs of day. Higher day was all the way up at 64. And the target was eventually hit there, picking up 18 and a half before commissions. Over on ES here, had a bit of a day on ES. So as you can see, had a bit of a sell-off after going into the market open, followed through in the market open to the downside. What we did see was, let's have a look at these trades. So what I did do was I drew, actually let's do it this way. So this is the previous week's midpoint. This is, what is that? I think I drew it on there. There was a level through here. Let's get what that level is. Anyway, so we've got the previous day's midpoint, previous week's midpoint, prior day's low, drew a Fibonacci. Got a 50% sitting at that level around the it's at 91.50. So had price come down, saw price bounce out of that, find support around that 50% level between the prior day's low, PDL, prior week's midpoint, which is PWM. and decided to go long to target the previous day's low, which is this red line. So did that, prices got hit the target, then went short because I thought prices were rejecting the prior day's low. Went short, price turned around. The stop was up at 107. I thought it was inevitable that price would go on to hit my stop, so took it off there for a loss. In essence, giving up the profits I did make through there. I then went short. Okay, let's think about this. Let's see what happened here. Why is that? Let's see. So that was a long, and okay. So about break even at that point. No, we weren't. Where did we lose? I lost somewhere else. So we picked up 6. We picked up 5. Lost 7. Then lost 6. Okay, so this short here took it off for a loss. This long here, so it took the loss on the short of the previous day's low. Then went long on this close above it, thinking we'd see the move upwards. Price turned around, took a loss there. So had 2 losses, turned us negative. Then went short all the way down to that 50% level again. The midpoint between the previous week's midpoint and the prior day's low. Price came all the way down there, and with that, I ended up being about just slightly above break even there. Over on NQ. Let's see, over on NQ had quite a few levels here. So I went short thinking price would go back and test this weekly high from 2 weeks ago. It wasn't doing it, so took it off for a loss there. I then went short again, took it off for break even because it felt like a bit of a FOMO trade into a level. We've also got the PDL, which is a previous day's low, which is this red line here. So instead, I went long because I thought, well, price clearly is holding the previous day's low and this midpoint. No, sorry, this high, this previous week's high from 2 weeks ago. Yeah, the previous week's high from a couple of weeks ago. Went long, price went in my favor. Originally was targeting the previous day's midpoint. Price went in my favor, turned around. I did think at the time to target the 22s here, as that would be the 50% level between the previous day's low and the previous day's midpoint. Would be that 50%, sitting at 22,022. Waited. Price started to come down, so decided to accept it as a possible take profit. Price continued to sell, not filling my take profit, so eventually decided to take it off there. All the way down at the lows. Price turned around, felt FOMO because price was rallying quickly to the upside, jumped in 24 points worse off than my original position that I closed early. Then held a position. Now, this is where I made one of my biggest mistakes. Held a position. Price came into that 50% level, kept rejecting it. And on this candle, I actually had a short signal. So in reality, I should have got out of that long for a small loss and went short, targeting the previous day's low, because I've kind of discounted this prior week's high, because it wasn't last week, it was a week before. I discounted that. So instead, I decided to hold the position. And the reason I decided to hold was because I got in at a bad price because I felt FOMO. So because of that, didn't take the short off the 50% level. Held a position now. If I took the short, the target would have picked up about 50 points on the target down to the prior day's low. So from this close, which we are open the position down to the prior day's low. Held a position until we closed below the prior, well, this weekly high from 2 weeks ago. And as prices did seem weak going into the prior day's low, I decided to take it off there. Lost 26, which is a pretty huge amount considering what I did over here. FOMO'd in, didn't take the short. So that was a bit annoying because it took me negative on the day. Or around about, yeah, it took me negative on the day, I believe. Then Then with that, I eventually did get a setup short, so it should have been 2 consecutive shorts. I did have another setup short here. Took that short, and with that short, I decided to target the midpoint, the 50% retracement level again. Well, it's not a retracement level, the 50% level between the previous week's close and the prior day's low. So drew a Fibonacci between the previous week's close, prior day's lows, 50% aligned all the way at 88. Essentially was at 88. I've moved the fib a little bit here by mistake, but it's at 21,088. So my target was at 888.25. So price came all the way down to 21,888 before bouncing about 45 points to the upside. And as we can see here, we've had more selling. And with that trade, I managed to end positive on NQ. So we've walked through all the trades, explained the P&L. We'll have a look over at the trade performance. On the trade performance here, we can see gross gains, well, net gains, gross gains there, identical profits on long and short trades, profit factor greater on the short trades, above 2, which I like to see, overall 1.67, which is okay, it's not great, above 50% for accuracy. Okay. What I'm more concerned about is average win and largest win. So over here, our average win was bigger than average loss by 1.21. Like to see closer to 2 or greater, but we'll take it. And over largest win to largest loss, again, it's twice the size, slightly below twice. You could say it's pretty close to twice the size, and that's what we'd like to see. Time spent in the market, 21 minutes on average. A little bit less than yesterday, but we've certainly had more follow through today. So it's not been quite 54 minutes, but about 20 minutes or so, which I do expect on this higher time frame. And we target in the greater risk reward, targeting daily and weekly levels. So we'll have a look finally at the equity curve here. We can see at our peak, we were up at 14. Then we drew down 25. And then finally, we're going to end the day from being the whole 25. We're going to finally end the day up at, can we get it? Up at 32,584. And that's pretty much the trading for today. So what I'm going to do is, as usual, I'm going to add the live stream here as a bit of a button as a link you can click on if you want to watch the live stream back. It's a little bit less than 2 hours. Watch at 2 times speed. I've walked through the trade, so if you want to watch it back, you certainly can. Seems like this is going to go down to the previous week's close here. Got plenty of time. Currently, it's 12:58 Eastern Standard Time, so definitely seems like we want to go down to our previous week's close, but I'm already finished trading for the day, so I'll add the link there if you'd want to watch it back. And with that said, thanks for watching. Good luck trading. Have a great day.